How did Jordan get through the game?
He's sore, but he's doing well.
You think Christian's going to be out for a little bit?
I don't really know. I think we'll know more in the next couple days. I would assume he'd probably be out, most likely at least a week or so.
Is that the same feeling you have about Wyatt, or is there a little more optimism there?
Yeah, I don't know with him either. I haven't talked to those guys. I do that again on purpose before I come in here.
Now, what did you make of some of the drops after watching the film? I mean, they weren't necessarily the easiest catches from a ball placement, but do you still grade some of those?
Yeah, I mean, this is the NFL. I think anytime you have an opportunity to catch the ball, we got to make those plays. And certainly I think the ball placement undoubtedly can be better. And Jordan, we talked about it. I do think that he was a little rusty early on. I think the more he played, the better he got. I think that was pretty evident throughout the course of the game, and the more comfortable he started to look. And so I think it was never want to try to throw the ball that many times in a game. Usually you're in a tough situation, but hopefully he got enough reps in that he's kind of played his way through that.
Was he able to drive as much as he wanted to into that leg?
I just think it's just anytime you are in a rhythm and you're practicing every day and you're going out and playing, and then you stop doing that for a period of time, it takes you a minute to get your groove back.
One of the things he did better than just about anyone this last 2 months of last season is just taking care of the football. Back to week 1, the interception, and then yesterday. What's changed there? What's he seeing to maybe try to thread some of the throws that we just didn't see him trying to hit last season?
I mean, it's one game. I'm not going to freak out about it. There was a couple decisions in there. I think the one that he regrets the most is the one late in the game when they kind of lulled us to sleep a little bit in terms of showing a bunch of all-out looks and then kept bluffing out of it, and that was the one they brought to us. So, and he knows that he can't do that in that situation. But I think one of those balls, you have a free runner right at his face. The ball gets tipped twice. I mean, that happens. The other one, you got to give them credit. Typically in Tampa 2, the one when he tried to throw the ball to Christian Watson, typically in Tampa 2, the Mike linebacker runs with the middle runner. And we had Musgrave running what we call a through route. And usually that guy never falls off, because if he does, there's a huge hole behind him. The guy made a good play. I mean, that's all I can That's sometimes the price of doing business. So I don't necessarily fault him for that. The only thing I would say to him, and what we said to him is, if you feel that guy falling off, then try to drop the ball down. But the guy made a good play.
Without Christian yesterday, Bo's been playing, but Bo played some, and so did Malik. How do you think those guys have done? Are they ready for a bigger role if Christian's out here for a bit?
Yeah, I think all those guys, they always put the work in practice. And so I got confidence in any of those guys going in there and doing the job and doing it at a winning level.
Going back to the last interception, other than recognizing it ahead of time and making an adjustment, once the play is already started, what is Jordan's alternative there? Like, does he have an option to throw it away somewhere when?
Yeah, he could have thrown it away. He could have thrown it to Wicks. And then we got some, really all three of those other throws are quicker element throws where, he could have thrown to any one of those guys. I think there was tighter coverage on Jayden Reed than there was on Tucker and was it Rome outside, I believe. So, yeah, I think it's a learning moment, and that's all you can do. I mean, none of us were perfect yesterday, myself included. So, you got to learn from it, move on, and hope to not repeat that same mistake. And that's the message to really all our guys, is when you make a mistake, you just got to learn from it. And you cannot have repeated mistakes. And unfortunately, we've had too many instances throughout the course of the years, and I know it's still early, but where we've made the same mistake twice. And that's what we've got to make sure that we get corrected.
You mentioned talking with Jordan about the ball placement. Is that just a mechanical thing to adjust? Is it timing? What would you like to see him tweak there?
Well, you'd like to make sure you're on balance and to me, it all starts with your footwork, right? Making sure that your rhythm and timing is correct, and then getting your body in the best position possible so you're not falling off a throw and whatnot. And sometimes you just got to go out there and play. And I think he'll work himself through it. I'm not worried about it. I know he's going to do everything in his power to get it corrected, and I have full confidence that he will be better.
Matt, as you talked about some of those mistakes and the repeated mistakes. Is it more of needing to continue to get more game reps for the guys to clean it up, or is it more like on the practice field?
I think all of the above. So I think you got to be focused in terms of, and very intentional about what you're trying to get accomplished. But we've had repeated mistakes, whether it's false starts, whether it's guys jumping off sides, whether it's maybe a busted protection. Those things will drive you nuts and ultimately cost you games. And I mean, when you look at it, we've had 2 tight games that we've lost, and we got to make sure that we don't put ourselves in those positions where they do cost you.
What did you think of your pass rush yesterday?
It wasn't up to our standard, no doubt about it, and give them credit. I do think they have a good offense line, particularly their tackles are pretty good players. But I thought collectively as a unit, they did a really nice job. They did a good job utilizing chips on the edges. I thought the backs helped out in pass pro pretty good. So all in all, I don't think it was good enough, especially when we had the 4-man rushes. We were able to generate some pressure, obviously, when we started to give them some of those looks where we mugged up our backers in the A-gaps. Quay got through one time on that 2nd and long to sack Darnold and make it 3rd and forever. Obviously, Keyshawn came untouched off the edge. That was a big-time play in the game that really gave us an opportunity to get back in the game and make it a close game.
On the first touchdown to Addison, is Keyshawn expecting help over the top on that?
On the double move?
I guess it was a
That
double move.
was Ballantyne outside.
Okay. All right,
Did you say the double move in the first quarter on the right side? Yeah, that was on Corey Ballantyne.
Matt, how much were you talking with your brother this week?
I blocked his calls. He's out. No, I'm sure I'll talk to him. I miss my brother, man. I'm going to talk to him. But we're not going to talk about ball.
Matt, I
know we've talked a lot about Daniel Whelan, these last few weeks, but what did you think of what he gave you yesterday and just kind of that spark too at the end of the half?
Yeah, that was all him right there. Just, I mean, it was a 59-yard punt with almost 5 seconds of hang time, and I mean, that was a critical play. Obviously, that gave us a lot of momentum right before the end of the half. And I thought Bo did a great job, and Scuda running down there as the Flyers to be able to make a play on the ball as well.
Kind of going back to what Jason was talking about earlier about the pass rush. Obviously, you want more from everybody, but I think Kenny and Rashawn have a combined 1 tackle for loss in 4 games. Are you getting enough from those guys, or opposing offenses is just taking those guys away?
Yeah, I think there's been some sacrifices that we've made in terms of guys trying to win one-on-one rushes to try to keep our pass rush lanes a little tighter, to not allow quarterbacks to get through, especially when we're playing more athletic quarterbacks. There was a critical one yesterday on a 3rd and 1 where we get too far up the field and expose those rush lanes, and so we've made a conscious effort not to do that. And I think when you do that, there's some pass rush that suffers. So I tell you this, it's a balance of what we got to do. When there's times to unleash those guys and work edges, then we got to go do that. And then there's other times where we've got to be extremely coordinated with the 4 rushing as 1 and try to create, whether it's a pick game or whatever it may be, to try to create a little bit more rush from those 4 guys.
Can you explain the onside kick? And is that something that you've been brewing up? Is it that Braden's not necessarily where you want him to be on it? What was the reasoning behind that?
Yeah, it obviously didn't look great. That's something that we've been working on in practice. Both those guys work on it. And when it doesn't work out, then I got you guys asking me questions like this.
How many times have you seen in all your years in the league a drop kick by the punter on an onside kick? I've never seen that person.
Yeah. Well, he got one a week ago in practice, and it got our guys, so that's what we decided to do.
Now that you have to announce onside kicks and everything else, is it just you have to come up with more creative ways to
Not necessarily. I think all the kickers around the league have different styles of kicks. And we're going to put the guy that we feel like gives us the best opportunity to go out there and, recover one of those suckers. I mean, it's a low probability regardless. I don't want to be in those situations if we can help it. And yeah, it didn't work out.
Clear yesterday that you have a lot of confidence still in Braden. Is there something you're seeing different with him? Because a year ago, there's a lot of games where you had to miss a kick here and there, week to week.
Oh, we see it in practice every day.
What you've seen in the past.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt,
And I get it, though. I mean, this is, you got to go perform, and we expect him to make those kicks as well. So we've got to make sure that we get that production and make sure that his routine is right, and he's got to be able to self-correct as well. If you miss one, you got to make sure that you don't make the same mistake twice.
I'm sure that you would have fixed it if you knew the answer at this point. But why do you think it's not translating to the games when you see it?
I don't know.
Matt, I'm not trying to bait you into getting yourself fined, so I understand if you can't answer this. But after watching, I don't know, the TV copy or whatever you watched of yourself.
TV copy.
You just watched the film then?
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody who officiated in the league, not a former ref, and he said good officials kind of recognize the circumstances and maybe make a slightly different call there, understanding what you were trying to get accomplished. Do you expect anything further based on what happened yesterday, or do you feel like it's just done?
I don't know. I just was more upset, putting our team in that position. So ultimately, I always talk to our guys about take it out of the officials' hands. You never want to put them in a situation where they have to interpret whether, a good example was in week 1 when we got flagged for an illegal pick route down in the red area with Rome. And, we just didn't necessarily execute the technique that we wanted, even though you're allowed to pick within a yard of the line of scrimmage, but don't ever put the officials in that position. You know what I'm saying? Just run the route the right way, and then they're probably not going to call something like that. And the same goes for me. You know, I just got to try to maintain my poise a little bit better in that situation. And
Taking technique then?
apparently, I don't know.
Two more, please.
Matt, any official can grant you the timeout, right? Any of the guys on the field?
Yes.
On the interception that Jordan said he was throwing to Romeo, is Luke just in the wrong spot there?
No.
So it looked like they're right in the same line. What was supposed to happen differently on that play?
Well, it's a classic high-low, and what happened, we're calling it for a different coverage, and Harrison Smith was inside out of Rome. Really, we want that Rome's route to be straight vertical so that he can wrap Luke, and he got widened. He went outside of Harrison Smith, and so that when he did widen, they were in the same window, so it's bad distribution. That's not what we want.
So Luke is thinking at that time the ball's coming for him.
Yeah, he's in a tough spot. Like, he thinks it's a high ball to him. Again, bad distribution, and you know, and in Jordan's defense, he has a free runner running right at his face. That shouldn't be there. I mean, he should be picked up in protection. You know, we're not in scat protection, so we got to make sure that we step up, we make that block, and then I think he can make a better decision and hopefully just drop it down. Because if the spacing is a little off, like, just take the gimme.
Matt, real quick, you're getting a ton of production from Reed. What did you think of what he did after the touchdown, though, to get the crowd into it? I mean, you had obviously had your thing happen, and it seemed
I'll be honest with you, I wasn't watching him, but I love the energy he brings, and it's not just on game day; it is every day. He's just, we're lucky to have a guy like that. He's a tone setter. He really is, and I love how he competes and how he prepares for each and every battle, and then he goes out, and I think it's probably why he performs pretty well, because he's pretty consistent in his approach and does all the little things the right way. He does a great job of taking care of himself. He knows the plan inside and out, and then given the opportunities in games, he's making big-time plays. And there were 3 outstanding catches, I thought, that he made in that game. One being the touchdown. Then there was another one late in the game where it was on our last drive where he was uncovered and Jordan sped it up and got him the football, and it was a little behind him, but Jayden made a hell of a catch. And then the last big play was right before Wicks's touchdown, where Jordan just gave him a chance to go up and get it, and he beat Harrison for the ball.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
All right, guys, have a good one.